An indication what is going to be happening in the South later tonight for Democrats and Republicans. Let's head over to John King. He's watching all of this unfold, specifically the Huckabee-Romney factor, which was very significant in West Virginia, we just saw a little while ago. But what's going on big time right now?
Well, a lot of talk going into the night, Wolf, that it's a chance for John McCain to take command of the Republican race. So the flip side of that is how would either Romney or Huckabee stop him? So let's look at the various scenarios. Number one, let's start with Governor Romney. He has to win his home state of Massachusetts. John McCain went up there yesterday. Most Republicans think Romney is safe there, but that's one to watch early. Romney needs to win that to prove he's viable. Then, as you said, West Virginia, that was a state Romney wanted to win. Huckabee wins that, so that's a disappointment in the Romney campaign. So where do they go next? Very much hoping that they can win down here in Georgia. And as you just noted, we will get results early on that one. So for Mitt Romney, you believe your conservative message, I'm the conservative alternative to John McCain. He hopes to sell that in Georgia. Then the next big test for Governor Romney is right here, the bellwether state of Missouri. Same for Huckabee. All three Republican candidates hotly contesting Missouri, hotly contesting Georgia. Those will be key to watch. And then Governor Huckabee's not playing out here, but Governor Romney is. So if you're Romney, that's very big for you.
That's the big prize tonight, California.
Very big. And I want to clear the board quickly so we can go through Huckabee, and I'll use red for Huckabee. If you're Huckabee, you've already won West Virginia. You're off to a good start tonight. To make the case that you're not just a player in the race, but you can be a player for the nomination, he needs to do much better across the South. That would be Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and his native Arkansas. For Huckabee to get back in the race.
We assume he'll win Arkansas.
We assume he will. We'll see where the votes come in. But to prove that he's not just a factor in the race, but a player in the race, he has to do better than that. Has to pick up these southern states. Tennessee would be good. Again, he's tried very hard here. Strong evangelical base in southern Missouri. He's campaigned a bit in Oklahoma, and he's campaigned a bit up here for social conservatives in Minnesota. Those are the states, if you're Mike Huckabee, to be more than a player, but to be a factor, you want to do better. You want to move over to Oklahoma to Minnesota, and Missouri, again, is the huge prize, Wolf, for all of the Republicans as we start to make our way across.
And let's take a look at the Democrats now, because Georgia is an important state for Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, too.
Georgia's huge for the Democrats in the sense that if you're Barack Obama, remember, you won South Carolina, and the lighter shaded states, we should say, are the states that have already voted. Those states have already voted. Barack Obama won South Carolina based on overwhelming African-American turnout. He has the potential to copy that right here in Georgia and Alabama. If Barack Obama is going to have a good night, he needs to start in Georgia with a win, Alabama in a win. Smaller African-American population in Tennessee. Arkansas, of course, Hillary Clinton, before she was the first lady and a senator from New York, was the first lady of Arkansas. So one would assume her old supporters will take care of Arkansas for her. But again, you come back to this same state. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about Missouri tonight. It is a bellwether state. It is very representative of all the ideological ranges in both parties. A heavily African-American city in St. Louis, rural Democrats out here, evangelicals in the Republican Party. So we're going to come back to Missouri over and over again tonight in both races, Wolf. And of course, ultimately, we get out to California.
Well, let's talk about California on the Democratic side for a second, because as important as the popular vote is going to be, and it's going to be very, very important, the delegates for the Democrats, the way they proportion and decide who gets those delegates is going to be really significant.
And that's why I pulled this out, Wolf, because California will be 53 different races. These are the congressional districts, those little lines you see inside. And let's assume that, let's say, it's hypothetical, it's early, let's say Senator Clinton wins the vote statewide. Someone would say, wow, she's won California. Well, that's not necessarily a big deal, because the delegate math can change based on congressional districts. Now, Senator Obama is the darker blue, Senator Clinton is the lighter blue. Let's watch how this works. If Senator Obama is winning the congressional races, and look at the delegate number, if he's winning the congressional districts, he's mounting up delegates even if she's won the statewide vote. So it could have a huge impact. Watch those numbers on top. Depending on how you do the congressional, doesn't matter who wins statewide. It's all by congressional district, and how the congressional districts go is how the delegate numbers end up at the end of the night.
It'll be a decision that all of us have to make, everyone out there in the country, who actually won California, if there's a split decision. One of the candidates wins the popular vote, but another candidate actually gets more delegates.
And we are more likely to know who wins the popular vote first, not definitely, but you might hear, if you're watching at home, you might hear Wolf Blitzer tonight say Hillary Clinton has won statewide in California, but Wolf Blitzer will be very smart to say right after that, but that's not the most significant question. The question is who gets the delegates, and to do that, it's much more complicated. 53 congressional districts, it's 53 different contests. Wolf, it's complicated, so it makes it fascinating.
And what's fascinating, especially about California, is we've seen these Republican candidates go into heavily Democratic districts, like in San Francisco, for example, and Democratic candidates go into heavily Republican districts in Orange County, for example, because they know that those congressional districts are significant in terms of racking up delegates.
That's absolutely right. And you can pick a winner. You can say it's the same thing. You can say Governor Romney wins the state, but the whole thing can move based on how the congressional districts go. So you're right. You had Mike Huckabee up in San Francisco, Nancy Pelosi's district, probably the most liberal congressional district in the country, the man who's the most culturally conservative Republican candidate up campaigning in there. So it's district by district by district, and you have to remember that as the night goes on. And again, see, watch this. Watch, if you turn this, watch the delegate numbers. That's Mike Huckabee. There's John McCain. Goes up. All depends on congressional districts. You see how the state just switched? State just switched from a McCain state, a Romney state to a McCain state. So we'll know the statewide winner, Wolf, but the math is done in each of these districts, and that will affect the numbers that matter,
and it's going to take a while to get there. Let's go to the finish line right now and show us what we're going to need to see.
You want to get to the finish line?
Yeah.
Let's stay with our delegate map. If you want to get, here's your finish line, right here. There's your finish line, okay? So let's start giving
among the Democrats.
We're on the Republicans right now. We're on the Republicans right now. You have to start giving away states to make it happen and to move the votes over. We're stuck on the telestrator here. You start moving states over. You give that to McCain. Let's say he wins that. There we go. We've got to give that to him. You see the line moving?
Yep.
That's picking up delegates. You start winning states, and I'm just doing this hypothetically just to show you how this works. This is not to say Senator McCain would win these states, but you watch that happen, and this is based on proportion. It's in the states that are proportional, he's getting a proportion of the delegates.
So what we hear you saying, and our viewers should get ready for this finish line, to that finish line right there, and that will be the winner of the nomination.
And we can say with pretty near certainty, neither the Democrats nor the Republicans will get somebody to the finish line. The question at the end of the night will be who's closest to the finish line. Senator McCain is hoping to get way out like this so that the other candidates start thinking, if McCain is here and the other guys are back here, and I should have done that in a different color, the idea would be we can't catch him. That is the dynamic Senator McCain wants at the end of the night. But to do that, he better win Missouri. He's going to have to do well in California. We got a ways to go.
We got a lot to look at here. I want to bring in Lou Dobbs because he's got the best political team on television. We're, what, about 2 minutes away, Lou, from the polls closing in Georgia.
Absolutely. 2 minutes and now 11 seconds from the closing of those polls. And in the intervening time, we're going to introduce our team here, the best political team in television, and that is, there's just no hyperbole in that whatsoever. Joined by David Gergen and Jeffrey Toobin, and we're joined also by Gloria Borgia. We're going to have John King and Wolf Blitzer rejoin us, if you will, and back here, the illustrious Bill Bennett, the inimitable Roland Martin, Jamal Simmons. I'm out of superlatives, and Paul Begala, our good friends and analysts also. Soledad O'Brien and Bill Snyder will be joining us here in just a matter of moments to carry us through this evening of an incredible night in which we're going to see 1,020 Republican delegates set as a result of the caucuses and primaries held on this Super Tuesday. 1,681 Democratic delegates settled. We don't, however, think any of that will settle this race, but we'll see as the hours proceed here on election night on CNN. So, Wolf, back to you. We're ready to go.
I know. It's going to be exciting all around. Lou's got the best political team on television. We're watching all of this unfold. Less than a minute or so now until they actually close the polls in Georgia. Georgia, a critical state because it could set some trends. What do we see, as we just saw from John King, and other critical states in the South that are voting, and their polls will be closing later at the top of the next hour, not 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll watch what happens in Alabama and Tennessee, and then we're going to be moving out. But Georgia is a state like South Carolina, which does have a significant African-American population on the Democratic side, and we're going to see what happens in Georgia momentarily. There's no doubt that Mike Huckabee has been looking at his native South to try to score some points. He did capture 18 delegates just a little while ago in West Virginia. A big boost for him on this night. So let's stand by for the polls closing in Georgia. And based on our exit poll, CNN can now project that Barack Obama will win the Georgia primary and the Democratic presidential nomination in Georgia. Barack Obama will beat Hillary Clinton in Georgia. That's based on our exit polls that we saw come forward throughout this day. Barack Obama, the winner in Georgia. On the Republican side, right now, it's a three-man race. We cannot yet make a projection on the Republican side between John McCain, Mitt Romney, and Mike Huckabee, but we're going to have to wait. We'll wait to see the actual votes being tallied. As the votes come in, we'll get more information. We'll be able to potentially make a projection down the road. But right now, it's a three-way race between McCain, Romney, and Huckabee. It is a win. It is a win for, though, on the Democratic side, for Barack Obama in Georgia. Here are all the states, by the way, that are up tonight. Super Tuesday wins. You take a look at all of these yellow states out there are the states that are voting tonight. As you see, Georgia now, Georgia will be a win for Barack Obama. We have not yet been able to allocate delegates in Georgia because on the Democratic side, it's proportionate depending on congressional districts. But right now, on the Democratic side, you can see a win for Barack Obama in Georgia, just as he won in South Carolina not that long ago. On the Republican side, so far tonight, we can see Mike Huckabee, that red over there, that's Mike Huckabee. In West Virginia, there was a convention, a Republican convention, earlier the day in West Virginia. Mike Huckabee gets the winner-take-all, 18 delegates in West Virginia. A good start for him on this day. We'll see how he can do throughout the South as the polls close in these other southern states. Once again, on the Republican side, it's a three-way race between McCain, Romney, and Huckabee in Georgia. Let's go to Lou Dobbs and the best political team on television. We can assess right now a win for Barack Obama in Georgia, just as he won in South Carolina.
Just as he won in South Carolina, just as had been expected by most that he would win in Georgia. David Gergen, the three-person race that Wolf just articulated in Georgia. Your thoughts?
Well, it suggests it could be an interesting night for Republicans. That Romney is holding better, I think, than some people thought. He is going to be competing with Huckabee in a lot of those southern states, and Huckabee's got a good chance to take some of those southern states from him. If Huckabee were not in this race, I think you would have a much more even race now between McCain and Romney. But I think it's going to be a long night on the Republican side too. It's not as obvious from what we're seeing early on and what we're hearing that this is a big McCain sweep.
Do you concur, Jeffrey?
Well, I do, but the paradox here is that Mike Huckabee is almost like an entry in horse racing with John McCain. I mean, the fact that Huckabee keeps showing strength means there is no single alternative to John McCain in the Republican primaries, which means that's good for McCain. So even though he's not winning, which of course he would like to win, that is McCain, the fact that it's not one single candidate coalescing as the opposition, the conservative opposition, is ultimately good for him.
And it's not good for Mitt Romney, obviously, because Huckabee takes votes away from Mitt Romney. So that's good for John McCain.
Yeah, but one of the things we're looking for tonight is whether, since John McCain seems almost crowned, whether Republicans are going to rally to him in these various states tonight. And if their votes go elsewhere, it suggests he's got a ways to go to rally the party, to be an enthusiastic nominee of the party.
Well, let's try to get some better sense of what's happened in Georgia. Let's try to also at the same time see how that may project out to the 23 other states, 22 now, with West Virginia decided in caucus. Let's turn to John King and his magic board and insightful analysis as always. John.
Well, Wolf, as you see right now, this is the state of Georgia, and it is fully white on our board because no votes have come in yet. We're looking at the Republican race here, and you see the different colors you'll see through the night for the candidates as the board starts to full in. What are we looking for in Georgia? It's a very competitive race, we know, between the three Republican candidates, Romney, McCain, and Huckabee. And if you're Mike Huckabee, you're looking over here and down here, social conservative vote, mostly in this part of the state. I want to take this off for a little second. I want to pull out to the west of Atlanta in Douglas County, Cobb County, and here in Fulton County, which is 10% of the state population. If John McCain wins Georgia, it is most likely to be out here, where you have a more moderate suburban vote. That's one of the things we'll watch early on. And as you shrink the state back down, Lou, as you can see, Georgia's a big state. If you look at, there's some military installations in Georgia. This is a place where Mitt Romney has gone down and challenged McCain as a conservative. You see more Republican territory out here. Obviously, Atlanta's the big city. That is where Barack Obama was a factor in the Democratic race. But as you look at the Republican race, normally Fulton County tells you where the state is going, Cobb County, which is down here as well, and the social conservative vote is out here in the eastern Georgia, southern Georgia. If Mike Huckabee is making a play for Georgia, we'll see his color. And again, here's the different colors of the candidates. We'll see that as it fills in. But the polls have just closed. We have 0% reporting reporting so far. So we'll watch these colors and watch as the states fill in. And this could be, it's a competitive state with all three candidates. There have been a few other places where we've had that. All three have competed in Missouri, a state like Georgia, where you have a social conservative element, also a suburban element in the Republican Party. So as we watch this tonight and watch how this map fills in, it may be instructive as we move further on to some of the other more competitive battlegrounds. Lou.
John, thank you very much.